David Lowe, the CEO of Qwerky.
David Lowe is with us, founder and CEO of Qwerky.
Founder and CEO of Qwerky, David Lowe.
Always knew in the back of my mind that this was the big business.
Qwerky is an interesting concept.
Attracting entrepreneurs, digital nomads, and creatives. Although my accent doesn't give it away, I'm now an American.
Now let's get your accent out of the way.
Having a vision that's so big that you need help. You need a team.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Lydia Isnanto channel, and right now I am in the San Francisco with amazing human being. His name is Dave Lowe. He is the founder and the CEO of Qwerky, which is the co-living community for like-minded people. You're gonna launch Qwerky next year, early next year in 2018.
We're looking at summer 2018 launch, yes.
In
San Diego, yes. Not San Francisco, but the other sand.
So you're just visiting for 3 days?
Yes, we've been asked to speak at the Coliv conference tomorrow actually, but we've come in today. And it was about an 8-hour drive from San Diego. This morning we got up at 3 a.m. So it's we're a little bit sleepy, but yeah, we love it. Great energy here in San Francisco, and
thank you so much for your time, willing to be here and share your stories for the audience from Lydia Isnanto channel.
Thank you for having me on as a guest.
First question is, what is actually Qwerky?
Well, Qwerky, as you beautifully put it earlier on, is a co-living community for like-minded people. And what does that mean? Well, we see an opportunity to get entrepreneurs, digital nomads, creatives, especially together in the same place, living together. And the reason for that is so that they can kind of collaborate, get all of their great minds together, and work on projects together and be better connected as human beings.
So from Qwerky, your pilot before, is there any business has started, like from discussion or like from anything?
Well, we set a challenge to the entrepreneurs in the house, and we said, if we gave you, I think it was $1,000 to solve a problem, in the city, or just, if there's an issue that you saw that needed to be addressed, what could you use that capital for? And how would you start a business with very little startup capital? There were 2 people who had their own businesses, and they both came up with like a way of using their own businesses to combine and start another business. And at the end of that, it was kind of like, wow, you guys, you should absolutely look at that as an actual business to try and launch. And then they kind of went away and started working on it. Those kind of things were happening very quickly. That was happening within 24 hours. But we saw also that the house that we were using and the 8 entrepreneurs that were in there, it was too small and the demand was too high. And so that's why we're kind of now looking at building a bigger community to house all of these brilliant people that.
And you have been building this for 2 years, 3 years?
I would say, well, it's been in my mind since about 2001 maybe. But I would say probably the last year and a half, I've been really researching it. And very recently, I just went to Europe for 3 weeks to go to 5 different countries and visit different co-living communities to learn from them and stay with them and just kind of make friends and learn about co-living.
How did that idea came from of you building such an amazing place? Entrepreneurs come together and then they start building something out of a strangers. And where did that passion came from?
It came from a personal frustration. So I moved to London in 2001, and I kind of did the corporate thing for a little while. And I got to the point where I knew I wanted to launch my own business, but I just didn't know where to start. And the city was so big and everyone was everywhere. And so I started going to networking events, and then I was kind of taking my entrepreneurial ideas home to my roommates, and they were all like bartenders and marketing people. So they were all sort of, very, very different people, and they didn't understand what I was going through, trying to get a business off the ground on my own. And they said, "You're crazy. Why? Who do you think you are, Richard Branson?" And so that's kind of, that was the mentality I found over there. And so I just had this kind of desire, I guess, to be in a living environment with people like me. That was the simplest kind of way of thinking. And I went through, because I felt very disconnected from entrepreneurs in a living environment, especially, and I didn't have that emotional support system. I went through kind of periods of depression in London, and then I suddenly had this kind of moment where I thought co-living is, and this is almost before co-living was a thing, and even before co-working, I just thought this co-living needs to be in the city, and it's something that I desperately needed. Eventually I got to the point where I was like, I want to leave London and move to the US and become an entrepreneur and try things over here, and things have got much better in the US. And obviously, I exited my first business earlier this year, and so I can now focus on Qwerky like 100% and finally realize this vision. Well, my dad ran his own business successfully for about 30 years before he sold it. So I think that was where the idea of running my own business came from. But then my dad had taken over that business and run it successfully, whereas I wanted to start my own. So I was getting frustrated with maybe industries, and I thought I could do better at that, and started thinking, why am I thinking like that? You know, is it because I'm just kind of, you know, frustrated with things or angry? And then I thought, no, that's my entrepreneurial kind of something inside calling that's saying, you know, listen to those thoughts. That's you can, if you're frustrated with something, you know, instead of complaining about it, try and create a solution to that problem. And that was when the idea of building businesses came to me.
If there's one advice you would like to give for the audience who are currently have the visions, but there's a lot of struggle, so what advice you would give us according to your experience?
Number one, apply to Qwerky.
Yes, Qwerky.
Number one. Number two, I think one of the best things that's happened to me so far in my entrepreneurial, let's say, career or journey, having a vision that's so big that you need help, realizing there that you need a co-founder and you need advisors and you need help and you need a team. I'm more, you know, brand, media, interviews, design, community, layout, like aesthetic, whereas Max is kind of, you know, he went to MIT, so he's a tech genius, and he's CTO, and so he's developing some incredible tech, and so I can kind of say to him, hey, this is either something I've imagined, can you create it? And he goes, yeah, that's easy, I'll have it by tomorrow. Or he comes up with an idea and I say, that's brilliant, we've got to do it, and then we get excited. Getting a team, getting a support network, like an emotional support network, but also people who can help you get to where you need to get to. That's the biggest thing. Because if you just do it on your own, which is kind of what I did with Uberpong, which is my first startup, it's very easy to kind of just be isolated and go to coffee shops, but still be isolated, go to co-working spaces, still be in your bubble, and not stretch yourself. And I think when you've got two people and you've got a team, it's like you are not just accountable to yourself as a leader, but you're accountable to the team.
So guys, if you're interested in building your own business, number one, go to Qwerky. Okay, because number two, you need a co-founder. I mean, you need a team basically. So find the right people, get involved with the like-minded people, and if you have a chance, please come to San Diego to Qwerky.
I was going to say we're on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Qwerky Co-Living, and we've got a YouTube channel, but just search for us on YouTube, and you'll find us, just Qwerky Co-Living again.
So guys, don't be discouraged, because you can see this human being is so energetic all the time. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, ciao.
Thanks, Lydia. Thanks, guys. Up top.
Okay.
Up top.